Good morning, everybody. Uh, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar in a series of webinars. We've talked about the scenarios post-COVID. And we have with us today one of the leading luminaries in terms of healthcare, Dr. Naresh Trehan. So I'll just give you a background. So the future of healthcare post-COVID, the issues that we are discussing is after the worldwide outbreak of COVID-19 it's brought about the world to a standstill. Healthcare and medicine has been majorly affected because obviously of social distancing and many of the issues that pertain to healthcare and health workers being considered frontline workers. Against this backdrop of heightened anxiety of not knowing when we'll be able to get complete control over the virus or when we'll be able to develop a vaccine against COVID-19. Hence, this webinar is basically designed for just that. We basically have our speaker, Dr. Naresh Trehan. Dr. Naresh Trehan's brief introduction is, he is one of the renowned cardiovascular and cardiothoracic surgeons in the country. He graduated from King George Medical College and subsequently trained and practiced in New York University Medical Center, Manhattan. From 1971, he practiced there 1971 to 1988, where he obtained a diploma from the US Surgery and American Board of Cardiothoracic Surgery. Dr. Naresh Trehan is also the chairman and managing director and the chief cardiac surgeon of Medanta The Medicity, which is a super specialty hospital. One second. I'll just mute Dr. Saab 1 second. Dr. Saab, I would request you to mute it, please. Yeah.
तो आपकी तो स्टैंडिंग जो हुई थी 2010 में उसके बाद अब जो आपके सिम्टम्स हुए हैं
1 second. So Dr. Naresh Trehan also founded the Escorts Heart and Research Institute.
एंजियोग्राफी तो होनी चाहिए जिससे पता लग जाए कि सेफ्टी है.
Let me just try and get
this
background here. Yeah.
ठीक है ना. तो एंजियोग्राफी करवा के फिर बताता हूँ इसको क्या करना है, कैसे आगे ठीक करना चाहिए, दवाइयों से हो जाएगा, क्या करना चाहिए. ठीक है ना. तो अगर
Doctor, hello.
Okay, all right.
Dr. Saab, I would request you to please mute it. Hello. I'm sorry about that.
How are you?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. I was just briefly introducing you. And you obviously, I mean, you're a very busy man, so you have parallel emergency.
It's a pleasure to connect with people who are living as close to heaven as one should be.
Sir, that is my virtual background, sir. It's my virtual background. I wish I was there. I'm actually in Bangalore, sir.
Ah, okay.
So I'm in Bangalore.
You faked me for a minute. So are we connected with people in Sikkim or not?
Yes. We are actually live with people in Sikkim, and we have people already who are joining the webinar, many from the pharma industry, a couple of them from the healthcare industry, and lots of people from Sikkim. Okay. So I'll just, sir, I'll just give a brief background about you here, and then give a little bit introduction into what we are going to talk about today, basically in the future of healthcare. Then post that, sir, your opinion, then we take a couple of questions and then we answer it. Is that fine, the format?
Yes.
Okay, great, sir. So Dr. Naresh Trehan,
try to keep it to an hour.
Yes, we'll keep it to an hour. Hour, sir. Hour, sir. So, as I was saying, Dr. Naresh Trehan, Chairman and Managing Director of Medanta The Medicity, renowned cardiovascular cardiothoracic surgeon, graduated from King George Medical College, Lucknow, practiced at New York Medical Center, Manhattan from 71 to 88. He returned to India to start Escorts Heart Institute and Research Center, and he served as a personal surgeon to the President of India since 1991. He is a recipient of the Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Award and Dr. B.C. Roy Award. So we have amongst us one of the leading figures in healthcare in India. So just briefly, sir, just kind of setting the stage, is we are looking post-COVID how vulnerable the Indian workforce is. I mean, we've seen things in agriculture, in industry, in mining, quarrying, manufacturing. So we have a lot of places that where employment has been heavily impacted. You see, basically in the agriculture and industry sectors, there is a lot of problem there, including even especially places like Sikkim and the Indian Himalayan region, which basically serves a lot of tourists during the summer and the winter breaks, is also heavily impacted because of, again, accommodation and food service are very deeply impacted, including transportation and logistics, because of the social distancing norms, etc. And so this is a clip from a screen grab from Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper is a famous journalist, CNN, and Dr. I think William Hastein, he says that you don't need a vaccine to stop the virus. We need behavior to stop the virus. So there are two things right now. One is, how do you go about it? There is this, I think, developing view that, the vaccine is about maybe 2 years from now, about a year, maybe 2 years from now. However, in the meantime, how do we cope with that? And so probably this kind of gives us some kind of premise into how some of the thinkers are thinking about going about this. And this is just to give you context about all our viewers about the USS Mercy there, along with an aircraft carrier. And you can see the healthcare in the US also now in one of its, I think in recent memory, one of the first times that it was actually called to serve the people, not in a wartime situation, but in a normal situation, right? Like where we are right now. This is some of the studies that have been done by the Economist Intelligence Unit on the future of healthcare, the realities and the science fiction. So what is achievable in the next 5 years versus what is there in the 25 years horizon. So portable medicine devices for professionals, you can see there are widespread realities versus realities. And if it weighs more heavily on realities, it starts becoming something that is more fructifying and something that might come into fruition much more earlier. Health sensors for consumers, that is already on. We are using, most of us already use pulse oximeter. We use our own blood pressure machines. So diabetics use their own, blood sugar measuring machines. IoT is also there, 3D printing in the next 5 years. And probably this is going to become a larger trend for people that are actually being able to do their own self-digital health. Telemedicine, one of the key things that we want to talk about, that is also, I think the COVID has kind of like brought all of this into fore, and we can see the avenues for telemedicine opening up immensely. There is obviously a question about hospital redesign based on the COVID standard operating procedure, precision medicine, devices inside body. So on the other side, we have genomics, robotics in the 4-5 year horizon, virtual reality in healthcare, and AI in medicine and decision support. On the 25-year horizon, we have man-made organs, aging research, designer babies, and BCI. So what is the biggest hurdle, sir? What we're seeing from even the economic survey, it says that the biggest hurdle might not be actually the tech part or this. So we have regulatory environments, one of the bigger issues, ethical issues, and investment affordability, technical issues that are there beyond the what people generally assume. So this is kind of projected in different continents or different areas where these countries will become leaders. We can see US becoming leaders in AR, AI, genomics, designer babies, nanotech, hospital redesign, etc. Eurozone generally has also similar. Whereas in the others, in Middle East and South Africa, we have more on the BCI, device inside body, that kind of thing in the 25-year horizon. And AI robotics still also dominates in this particular space. So AI robotics, one of the major things. It's obviously a mindset challenge rather than the tech challenge. Tech has never been so much of a like prohibitor in this particular instance. And so next is we bring you just to kind of like consider what the virtual healthcare scenario is. The healthcare industry, basically it is dependent on interaction between patient and doctors. This practice right now is largely suspended due to the pandemic. Healthcare across the world is around, it's very strained. India, we have around 7 lakh beds. We have about 0.5 bed per 1,000 people population. So hence we had to do the lockdown, I think. So many hospitals have been sealed due to workers testing positive, and that brings up more pressure onto the healthcare infrastructure in the country. Telemedicine might be an emerging solution for this. So there are a lot of other things, including Government of India's Sehat program, social distancing, and all of these things that are coming in. We need a big change in mindset, and it's really not about the the technology per se into fostering and propagating things like telemedicine into this. So compared to pre-COVID, right now post in this kind of scenario, generally hospital visits have changed. We have to take prior appointments, always wear a mask. These are standard things that people need to do if they don't already, especially for our viewers, sir. We carry and use hand sanitizers, clean wash hands regularly, follow respiratory etiquette, maintain social distancing. And also if you're visiting the doctor at the hospital, take one healthy adult with you to take care of things and belongings just in case that you need them to be taken care of. And bring all the necessary documents at one go rather than avoid revisiting the hospital for the same, treatment. And also, once you reach home, please immediately wash your face, hands, etc., and discard your mask hygienically. We are currently discussing, apart from on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, today's conversation is about the safety needs on personal security, employment, etc., but more so ever on the physiological needs of healthcare, which is basically what we want to talk about today. There are a lot of behavioral changes that even adults are doing now. They're buying, purchasing vegetables, etc., everything online. They're buying more. They have started doing online delivery of foods, etc. Banks that have been promoting digital banking for a long time have now kind of moved ahead, and it has already gone to the fore. That this has changed already. My son, I've shown in the previous instance also, his work from home is also on. He needs to sit in front of a computer every day. This is how he goes to school now. And the new normal is also like this. You have people, you can see this is a Singapore-Mumbai flight. So these things have changed dramatically. Everybody, it's not a horror movie though, it's reality now. And tourism has also become like this. This is from the Irawan Shrine. They're wearing face masks and dancing. Well, so sir, in all of this now, I just want you to please, give us your insights onto what do you feel the future is going to look like in terms of medicine and healthcare, sir?
So, Karma, you have said it all already. You are more knowledgeable than most people. So basically what has happened from what your preamble shows, which I will come to second, the first part is the fact that this virus is not going away. We did the right things, the government did the right things by locking down because it helped us. It helped us in 3 ways. One, it slowed down the spread of virus, which was needed by us because we did not have a robust healthcare structure to be able to take care of people when they got sick. That's one part of it. The other part of it is that the relative arrival of this disease in India and this lockdown added has given us a 3-month breathing period in which many new things have happened. One, we have understood the nature of the virus. We also understood how to try to interrupt the progression of the virus. And for those who get sick, there is hope that very soon we will have some effective medicines. And then also, a lot of work has started in this 3 months on vaccines. So if it arrives, which I am quite hopeful of, it will save us those 3 months that it would have taken for countries like Europe and America and all that, which started a little earlier than us. So that's where we are today, looking at data, which may be not fully accurate because of the fact that our testing percentage is low, that the amount of disease and the number of deaths may be higher. But no matter what, they are much, much, much less than what happened in Italy or what is happening in the US today. Except for Mumbai, which is mirroring New York, India has been pretty much under control. Now, we must also learn a lesson from Mumbai today for all of us to say, why did it happen in Mumbai so rapidly? So one is the geographical and demographic layout of Mumbai. Mumbai has the highest density of clusters. You can see the most expensive building in a house in the world in the middle of a lot of joggi jhopris, shanties. This is what the character of Mumbai has been. The people, because it's all piled up on each other, the people who work in these apartments, in these buildings and all that, many of them come from these clusters. So there's a lot of intermixing going on. And so it is very difficult once it starts in a cluster to control it, and then those people are also mobile, and then the spread happens very rapidly. That means that for the rest of us, like cities like Delhi, Bangalore, which may have some similarity to Mumbai, that it gives us the idea what we need to do, what we need to lock up, what we need to declare as red zones, so that as we are moving forward from this lockdown, we are now opened up already parts of the whole community, businesses. This is now, travel has started, all those things have begun. So now, and more is going to be opened. So that means that the intermixing of people will be intensified hugely. And we don't have a magic silver bullet yet against the virus. The only thing we have is we. When I say we, is the entire population of India, every citizen of India who stands on the earth of India. So a lot of it, or most of it, what we can do today is our behavioral change. As Cooper had said, that this is what the new normal will be. So new normal will be those three things that you have also talked about, and we talk about it day and night. Everyone blue in the face talking about hand hygiene, masking, and distancing. So all those things, if we take seriously, and that is a big challenge, because by behavior, we are very social people. We find it very difficult not to connect with people, not to be hugging and going close to people, which is the bigger danger to India than some of the Western countries, because they have, for them, this emotion is not so intense. But you see what happened in Spain, you see what's happening in Brazil, which are similar to our society, like 300,000 cases, huge. So we are talking and spreading wildly. So we are saying that this time our social behavior, our intelligence, and our ability to absorb the seriousness of this problem will come to test. So you cannot protect yourself enough because of the fact that once you get it, you don't know. It's like roulette. Nobody is immune. We only know that the end result in elderly patients who have already got comorbidities or other illnesses associated, of course, are at a much higher risk, and children below the age of 10 are at a risk because their immune system is not developed. So if we keep this in mind, protect our elderly, I mean, I shouldn't be saying that I'm an elderly myself, but if by and large we protect the elderly, we protect our children, the middle age will get infected, but most of them will overcome it. But the point is, we don't have to invite the infection. We don't, because you still don't know. There is enough number of deaths between the age of 10 and 50, 60. So there are enough people dying from that too. So it's not that we the young or the millennials are immune. They are just less susceptible to die. Their misery will still be huge. In sometimes people take 4, 6, 8 weeks to recover from this. Your body is like blubber. So it's no benefit to comfort yourself by saying, oh, I'm young, I'll be okay. You may still get it. And God willing, you'll recover without too much morbidity, but there's no guarantee. So that's why I want to use this platform to even only reinforce the fact that where is the battle line? The battle line is first, we are the front line as healthcare providers. Our whole teams, our nurses, our paramedical, anybody who's associated with the medical profession is on the front line. We are working day and night, we are trying to cope with it, but the second line of defense, which is the more important line of defense, which makes India sort of viable if we behave ourselves. If millions of people get sick, we don't have the capacity to take care of them, and we don't have the money to take care of them. So our main defense is our own human behavior. Now, there were some problems that occurred that the first thing that happened was that incidents in Delhi with the workers, then the laborers being locked up, then they were being released to go home. Now, so that has caused a lot of disruption. And it may take another 2-3 months for that disruption to work itself out. And disease will spread. We need to take care of them early. Hopefully, medicines are on the anvil. There are many research projects going on, including us, testing antivirals. Remdesivir, which has been manufactured in America, is showing good results. So I will say cautiously optimistic. They have licensed 4 Indian companies, Jubilant and Cipla and all, to manufacture it in India. So it will be available to Indians once the proof is there by mid-June. And by mid-June, it will be available at a reasonable price also, because if it came from America, it would be unaffordable by most Indians. So this is a good part. Then you go to the vaccine part. The vaccine part is, 110 companies around the world are racing to get the vaccine out. There are some lead contenders, and that is one was that Oxford group. We don't know, it goes up and down. The other is the Moderna in the US. So they are the lead candidates right now, but we also know, and also there are like Indian companies which have large capacity to produce vaccines, have been licensed, that if one of them hits, we will get it manufactured in India also. And again, it may become available at a reasonable cost to Indians. So with that background, we move forward. What do we do about India? And the main thing is that we cannot stay locked down indefinitely, complete India being in lockdown, because that will cause a huge, huge disruption in livelihoods for people. So the way to do it is to calibrate it very carefully, industry by industry, situation by situation, and say, like Bangalore is full of IT offices, and so they have those large floors, open offices. They've also learned that you can work from home and be at least maybe not 100%, but 80-90% effective. So what was the planning for the future? That things will happen, the ones you showed on your board, which says 5 years from now, 25 years from now. A lot of that 5 year got compressed in these 3 months. We were forced to rely. New technologies came up very quickly. Now, this the favorite. Nobody knew Zoom or Team or all the other house party. This is household name. The kids know it. The kids are connecting with everybody. So the whole paradigm has changed. How will it go back? What will be the new normal? Well, that's to be seen, but we can predict very easily that if you are working from home and you don't have to come to office, at least maybe half the time you need to come to the office, and the rest of the time you immediately reduce the burden on the transport system by half, right? Your pollution goes down. Now, we are enjoying looking at the stars, which we never saw in Delhi. I mean, I remember from childhood, but not in the last 20 years. So there are people who have never seen the stars in Delhi. So now they are enjoying, the birds are back. I mean, this is a heavenly state right now. But there is a big but, that there is an invisible enemy chasing us. So all said and done, the new norms you have enumerated in many, the behavior pattern will change. And I'll tell you how it affects us. We used to do, as a group from Medanta, about maybe 50 to 100 concerts, like video conferencing and all that. Today we are doing 400 to 500. So patient has now felt comfortable that you can actually don't have to travel for every follow-up visit. I mean, you have to have a treatment, yes, you will have to come. But then you don't have to cart your family, travel long distance just to see the doctor for 10 minutes, where the doctor can actually be, what in Hindi we say, rubaru, like face to face, and be able to review your whole situation. And if you need to be brought in, you need to come in, we advise you accordingly. So we say 50% of the patients, we've said it, but we thought it will take 5 years, 10 years for that to happen, but it's happened today. That 50% of the patients will not need to be touched because we are leveraging technology and we can do many things remotely. So ultimately, it comes to the fact that it can then, if we fight this virus well and it does not leave us battered, we will be better off in life. So you can even say it has shaken us up out of the whole lethargy of mindlessly speeding. If you stop somebody and say, where are you going? They won't know what the end point is, but we are all running. We are all running, whether it is economic, whether it's ego, whether it's greed, all those things you have had time to think about. Now, I have lived through this before. At the time of the Vietnam War, we were in the US and we went through the counterculture where everything was questioned and a beautiful thing emerged, but that behavior lasted about 10 to 12 years. And the greed and the me and money grabbing and ego came back. So those were wonderful period where everybody believed in peace. Everybody believed in respecting the other person. So if you look at the graphs, those were golden period, at least in the US at that time. And it affected the whole world in a way, right? Everybody understood the wantonness of war and all this other hostilities and stuff like that. So maybe we will emerge from this and we'll get the next 10, 15, 20 years, which will be better environmentally, more peace inside you, better family connection, better utilization of resources, and hopefully less animosity with each other. Because this is a destructive force. Why would you want to, I mean, and it's often said, the worst enemy of an Indian is an Indian. By the way, we should think about that, right? So I'm saying, let's seize this opportunity. Your priorities are first to protect yourself and family, then your community, then country at large, and change the human behavior by evaluating what is important and what is not important. So we are all, when we get time at home, I get less time because of the fact that I'm working, but even then, because the workload is not as much as it is usually, that we are also wondering how we had missed the quality of life all these years. in blind pursuit of what we call success, which has no meaning. It's all, you can take 25 degrees, don't do anything to you. Your humanness, your connections with your community, your family, that's what gives you joy. So I think that this is a very good thing. Not that doctors will not take care of patients, we will still work hard, we'll do everything, but in a way that the patient should benefit, and our desires of this whole society become less. And I'm saying there may be businessmen listening to all this who are saying that I'm saying that their demand on their products will be less. Possibly. Do we need to drive the biggest car available which can guzzle a gallon every 2 miles? Should we think about it? Why not readjust ourselves? Should we be burning fossil fuel? Should we not? Because we were talking about electric. Now electric will get a boost, but now the point is, how do we produce electricity? So we talk about renewable energy, that should be the mantra. So all these things will get short-circuited once we recover from this danger. And I think that medicine will change, as I told you, that we will treat patients remotely, we'll save them money, we will save them trouble, we will still be okay, and then we can concentrate on the ones who really need it, because the Indian infrastructure is not big enough for our country. So our need to establish more and more spaces, more and more big hospitals may become limited. We first will utilize what we have rather than wasting money blindly on building, so that we can give India a healthcare system which strings from a wellness center to the ultimate tertiary center with a seamless chain of triaging. What happens today is, and you may see it in Sikkim also, is that people do not have access to proper healthcare near their home. So they are reluctant to go for treatment in the early stage of disease because it's not that serious. And when ultimately most of it will become serious, so when that becomes serious, then people rush to the best center, the highest center, the best you can do. So what happens is that something which could have been treated or nipped very early in the course of the problem then becomes serious and needs one to go rush to a tertiary hospital. And also the point is, it becomes costly. So if we actually provide this chain, and this should be the priority of all our governments and all private providers also, that we should invest in the chain rather than saying, I will do only tertiary care. There will be plenty of work for tertiary care also, but people will get to you on time, you will be able to treat them better, you will be able to produce better results at a lower cost. That's the whole the mission that should be in all our professions. So I'll stop there. If there are any questions, I'll be very happy to answer.
Yes, sir. So thank you very much, sir. There are obviously a lot of questions, and I liked how you brought in the change in behavior post the Vietnam War, which I think added those 10, 12 years was, like you rightly put it, was very significant in kind of, reprioritizing our, I guess, our humanity. I mean, shining a light on our own humanity. We've seen with Woodstock, etc. I mean, how the music changed, how everything changed. So thank you for bringing that up, and all great points in terms of what healthcare is going to look like. So few questions that I have, I might not be able to take everything, but the few. One is, which mode of communication will re-establish the link between a patient, doctor, chemist, and the pharmaceutical companies? So this comes from, I think, Deepak from Juventus, is a GM at Juventus Pharma Company. So he wants to know what will be the communication method, or rather, how will we re-establish that link between the patient, doctor, chemist, and the pharmaceutical industries? You alluded to the point in remdesivir, in the remdesivir and statement that you made, But if you can a little bit shed a little light on that, sir.
So, you know, I've had a long held belief that we are the most inefficient in our ability to serve the full patient and humanity. I'm talking about medically. Because there has never been a connection between the different providers or of ingredients that go in the service of a patient. So you're talking about the pharmaceutical industry on its own, the consumable, the industries on its own, doctors are on their own. So what happens is the chemist who's selling the stuff out in the whole chain, it is totally disconnected. We are all individual entrepreneurs in the chain. Today, mark my words, we will have to learn how to deliver healthcare at least a 30-40% lower cost and still have enough incentive that people would like to become doctors so that they make reasonably good money. The chemists to open shops, the pharmaceutical industry to continue performing well. With all the wellness in the whole chain, we have to do only one method of supply chain. That means the deliverer of healthcare, the pharmaceutical industry, the chemist shops, the manufacturers of medical devices, all of us have to sit down and say, how efficiently can we make this system so that we are not fractured in our delivery, because there are so many pieces in there, so much inefficiency comes in, so much wastage takes place that we could eliminate it all, still make the money that we are making or maybe more, and make the patient much happier because he will get the best care at a lower cost. So I'm saying this is an opportunity that we need to form a chain. The chain of every participant in healthcare delivery system should link up with everything that is the inputs into the delivery. So if we start from the ground up and we make a seamless chain between us, we should be able to bring in at least 30-40% efficiency in the system.
Okay, that's great,
and
sir.
Make it humane and transparent and legal.
Transparent and legal and humane. So those are also very, very, I think that kind of really answers the other question that I had. But, and just if we extrapolate this, sir, so this is a question that's come from somebody, a friend of mine who actually runs a hospital in Assam, Guwahati and in Bengal. So her question is, can there be a benefit in forming a central purchase committee amongst private hospitals for getting a better negotiating position for credit lines and margins from vendors, like for example in PPE, medical equipments, implants, etc., sir?
Yeah, of course. See, this is what I want to tell you, that the dictum today is the biggest enemy you have is the other guy who's in the business with you, who has nothing to gain by being distracting from you. But that has been the norm. We can reset it now. That's a very good question. I can have it converted into a statement saying, why can't we do it? Why don't we get down to business today and start linking all the good people come on the same platform? It'll help the companies also. It's not like anybody will suffer in the chain. It'll become efficient in every way.
Thank you very much, sir. Then we have the next question, which is about a little bit on the policy side, sir. And this comes from my friend Parag, again from Delhi. He says, do you consider it the right time to legislate right to healthcare? And generally, Constitution gives us the right to health under Article 21, but it doesn't give us the right to healthcare. Sir, so how would you answer this particular question, sir?
So, it has to be how you read into the Constitution. When it says right to life, it includes everything. That means you're entitled to shelter, food, healthcare, education. These are all your rights under the Indian Constitution. Except what has happened is, and I hope it will change, is that there has been a lot of good things that have happened in India and a lot of not so good things that have happened in India. And there's still a lot of distraction in politics. Every issue becomes a political football. We are going through the most miserable time. Even now, people are not behaving responsibly. This is like war. This is an invisible war. And it's worse because you can't even see the enemy. And to be able to be distracting from each other at this time is criminal. So the point is, and I'm not blaming one or the other, it's the whole system. So we need to reset the system. The new paradigm should come up where we say, look, India has the potential of being the greatest country. Why? Because I think God has blessed us with the best minds in the world. Anywhere you go, Indians have shown themselves to be superior than anybody else, in spite of all the bias and disadvantages they may have to face around the world. But the systems have been so narrow in India that it's not allowed to actually flourish the brains that we have. Given the circumstances, Indians can find a solution much better than others. But the key thing is that we need to improve our relationship with each other. And it is not distracting. Ego. There are two things which destroy human beings. One is ego, the other is greed. If you have one, you are half dead. If you have both, you're dead. So, but I'm saying it not that I want to be a preacher. I'm saying it because it gives us the opportunity today to examine it. So, we should see if somebody has got an ego, we can study their paths, growth path. And you see what happens to people who have an ego. They die alone. You get my point?
Yes, sir.
And then you look at the greed guy. Where did he land up? Eventually, he'll fall off the cliff. And if you had both, you won't even get to the cliff. You'll fall off before that. So I think that this is a very, very nice moment. I lived it. I was part of Woodstock. You mentioned Woodstock. We are the Woodstock generation. You understand? So that's why I'm trying to say I have seen the better part of life.
Yes, sir. Excellent, sir. Just at the mention of Woodstock, I mean, I like music, so I play a little. So I always, had that probably that event was one of the
It was a sentinel event. It was a sentinel event. It started the new.
Nothing compares to that, sir. Even today.
I'm inside. Everybody has still the same soul. They love good things like this. But what has happened is that we've got wrapped up without thinking in the mad rush. So the mad rush has stopped today. Are we going to jump back on that, or can we emerge better? That's the only thing that we need to look at. Now you'll see, and I'm sorry I'm getting into philosophical discussions, and this is supposed to be, but that's medicine also. You see people on TV. People who will talk about only themselves, my industry, I'm suffering, I've made a loss. And there are people who have made a loss, but still worrying about those migrant, they call migrant, I call them labor. You must respect them. That they're worried about, even if they have 10 rupees, they will do something for them. That's the differentiator. So, we need to learn from those people who have done things. So that this is I think it's a lovely moment. I mean, I hope it doesn't destroy us, this virus, but then it's a lovely moment to jump into a new era.
So then now we have a couple of questions. 1 second. We have so Jayant Khosla has asked this question, sir, live, and his question is: there is going to be 3 distinct time phases, like post-lockdown, post-cure, and post-vaccine for the whole population of the planet. So, is there any critical distinction for proactive healthcare during this time in this
Very
phase?
good question. I'm glad he asked that question. See, for this disease, like any other disease, the outcome is dependent on your immunity. The body, we are surrounded by hostilities, by bacteria, this, that, virus. But our ability, the body also has a huge warlike machinery inside to fight the enemy. They do. And that's why we talk about age, that as you age, 60 and above, your immunity starts going down. And below the age of 10, it has not fully developed. That's why we call them vulnerable. So to keep your immunity, you could be any year old, but you must keep up your immunity. And immunity comes from muscle. Muscle comes from exercise. So if you are doing regular exercise and maintaining your nutrition, not to become fat, but just proper protein nutrition, that's the best defense you can have against this disease at this point. Okay. Why do some people get, you will have 10 people in a room, 3 will get sick, 7 don't. They may have gotten the virus, but their body destroyed it. That's why some people get very mild symptoms. The virus was not able to overcome it. So that's the whole thing, that to how do you keep it? So there are people who are disadvantaged, locked up in a small apartment, many people. Yoga is the answer. You can do yoga on a mat, 3 feet by 6 feet mat, or even shorter mat. Surya Namaskar is an asana which actually not only exercises your entire body, but also the inside organs. So you just learn how to do Surya Namaskars and gradually build up to 30, 40 at a time or in a day. You will have full flexibility. You will have full muscles. You will have the best immunity you can get. Okay. Then in addition, we talk about vitamin C may be giving you some help with your immunity. No proof, but good belief. So 500 milligrams twice a day is very easy to chew. It even tastes good, and maybe will give you some immunity. So that's the end of it. Do not take hydroxychloroquine as an immunity or prevention. Only be given. There's a lot of controversy over it anyway, even in its treatment, but under the guidance of a physician in somebody who's suffering from COVID, yes. So this is a very, very important thing somebody asked. Hydration, nutrition, and exercise. These are the 3 mantras for yourself. Masking and the other 3 things that we talked about. But I'll give you why masking. People say, why is this thing masking, or may not even question. See, this study was done very early, and not that if somebody is infected with the virus and somebody is not, they are in close contact, means less than 3 feet apart, and their contact is 15 minutes or more, then the chances of the person who is not infected to get infected are very high. So there are 3 elements. One is no mask, there is distance, and the longevity of the contact. Okay. So we say, if that is so, The next experiment was done was you take the person who's infected wearing a mask and the other person not wearing a mask, still less than 3 feet, still more than 15 minutes contact. The chances became medium, much less. And if both of them are wearing masks and within 3 feet and over 15 minutes, then it becomes minimal. So now, if you extend 3 feet to 6 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, both of them are wearing a mask and your contact is less than 15 minutes, the chances become minuscule. That's why we keep insisting that you want to protect yourself, do the following.
Okay, great, sir. Sir, the next question is about digital healthcare itself. Like the current crisis has brought about digital healthcare to the fore, telemedicine, etc., under the name of telemedicine. So, however, it is also there is a need to kind of regulate that with governance and security. So, how do you see that shaping up in the context of India, like the HIPAA, HL7, etc.? This is by Nav Singh, sir.
So that's the Achilles heel of IT. Data security. Now, that's a moving target. You create one layer and somebody breaches it very easily or whatever. There are masters of master hackers who will get into anything. So that's a risk you will have to learn. And I don't know of any IT system which can say foolproof 100% security I can provide you forever. You may be able to do it today. You're not lying. But in the next 10 days, somebody develops a counter to that and it's over. So yes, you have to be careful in a way. I mean, it's as vulnerable. Your health record, your bank account, your other confidential details, they're all vulnerable in one way or the other. But hopefully, the technology creators will keep one step ahead of the hacker. That's basically what their mandate is. Yes, telemedicine, as I told you, there are many tools that have developed. And I'll give you a few examples. So it started with us getting an ECG on a telephone, that you can hold your phone with 2 electrodes on it, it will record your ECG and in real time transmit it to the doctor's smartphone, right? Even before smartphone, 25 years ago, there were devices which when I was at Escorts, we were using it, that you put it on your chest, press a button, it records your ECG, converts it into a digital signal, and over a phone, even a landline, you could press the button and the digital encryption would come. So from that to today, where we can not only measure ECG, but 12-lead ECG, we can do blood pressure, we can do blood sugar, we can examine eyes, we can examine ears, we can examine for rash. There are many, many things that have been added on. We have SpO2, so you know exactly there is somebody who's complaining of shortness of breath, where it's coming from, all those things. And then bandwidth has developed almost everywhere, so you can have a visual contact also. Before it was teleconsult, now it's video consult. So that's happened, and it will keep happening. But now in the COVID era, what have we got? There are devices now for remote monitoring of, or let's say home isolation or quarantine to monitor those people. So there are patches, and this technology is now quite advanced. And it's an American company, but also now Indian companies have started making. There is a patch which has 4 electrodes on it. It will measure your blood pressure, not your blood pressure, that will come from a different device. It will do your ECG. It will measure your SpO2. It will measure your breathing rate. And it will also measure the intensity of your cough. So with these 4 pieces of information, you know if it's safe to leave a patient at home, or do we need to ask them to come into the hospital before catastrophe hits. So this is already real time. So just imagine you don't have to be in the hospital. You are in the comfort of your home, isolated, with this patch, and you're being monitored remotely at a medical center. So you have the comfort that you're not worried. So these are many, many things that have happened which will keep enhancing. So we talk about robotics and all that stuff. That's too sophisticated to give you descriptions right now. But COVID has thrown up many things. So ICU, we were practicing eICU because there are not enough critical care doctors. So you could take a hospital and put the equipment in there and you can monitor it remotely. Now that was happening, say maybe we were monitoring 50 beds outside of Medanta. Now we're talking about technology is developed that we can do 1,000 of them. So you won't need a critical care expert in a regular doctor can be in discussion with all the data coming real time into a remote ICU sensing station. So all these things will happen, and it's good that this is a good sign. Now, you've heard of Tom Friedman, who wrote who wrote the book Earth is Flat.
Earth is Flat.
The other day, he described it as this. He says, listen, this corona is a war between Mother Nature and Father Greed. We destroyed the environment, regardless, with all the warnings coming, we still didn't stop. We just kept denying it, fighting it. And now we have made it in such a way that the environment cannot deal with this kind of thing. So it's true that the intensity of pollution, which makes us now stop and think, what are we doing to ourselves and our children and our grandchildren? I mean, you've got to be insane. We are insane. So if you stop, now let's see what we can do to not let it happen again. And it will be participated from everybody. It can't be one person or the other. It has to be a humanity change. So anyway, these things will happen. Hopefully we'll be healthier. Now, you know, this is my imagination. I've never been to Sikkim. But I have a romance with Sikkim, and I was waiting for many years that when the airstrip opens, I'll go. And I'm told now it's there, but not sort of fully functional.
It's not operational. It was operationalized, but it's like kind of closed down. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So now it will happen one of these days.
Yes.
So I'll be able to see. But my imagination is that the people of Sikkim are like Bhutan. I've been to Bhutan. I mean, we used to see this nature, what we saw in the clean streams and the air and the beauty and the behavior of people, what they call that gross happiness index. That's what we need to get to. That the country should be measured in the gross happiness index rather than how many tanks or aircrafts or guns that we have.
Excellent, sir. So I have questions, but I think we are running out of time because you have a hard stop at 12.
Yeah, no, I'm in between operations, so I should.
Okay. So,
right?
so that is more important. So in all of this, sir, I like a different the tonality, sir. The last time I heard you speak, you were discussing the Da Vinci machines, the robotics, the AR, VR, and the future of medicine in that sense.
In Calcutta.
Yes, sir. Now I'm seeing the more philosophical you, which is more fatherly. I think the pandemic has kind of like really reset most of our priorities, and it's good that it's coming from a leading figure like you. So it helps us also put things into perspective. I love that. I loved everything that you spoke about. There were more questions. Unfortunately, I can't ask them now. But I will surely. I mean, some other time.
No, but I would say, please send me them on an email. Anything which is pressing, yes, and I would love to answer it.
Sure.
I'm sorry because although you had suggested till 12:30, but because it's one of those times where we don't want to like delay operations and things like that. Okay. So, but it's a pure pleasure. Anytime we can reconnect. And hopefully we'll discuss how great we feel after the pandemic is over.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for doing this, for making, I mean, your time is very precious, for being available for, to us. And I hope our people, the people who watch this or will watch this even recorded and who watch this live will really benefit from this. I don't want to keep you from your operation. And once again, from everybody from that's actually listening to this or listening in the future, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. In the same vein, I also want to thank all the people that made this possible, in terms of our partners, Sikkim Chronicle, Demi Solutions, AICT, SMUTB, Help COVID India, and and all the people who attended. Thank you very much. And sir, Sikkim, we will do Sikkim. You have to come.
Yeah. My pleasure. Now, yes, now the new bye-bye is stay well, stay safe.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.